Hey guys, Brian here from Better Chess Training, and in today's video, I thought I would share some thoughts I had about chess training principles. And this is coming off of a big tournament I just played in, the Kings Island Open, the under 2100 section in Cincinnati, Ohio. I did okay. I scored 3 out of 5, and I will probably share those games later. Although I have to admit, I did not play as well as I would have liked to. But we, one of the things that I'm trying to do is to be just very honest about my play for myself, so I can improve. So what I thought I'd do today, because I'm still in the process of analyzing those games, is to I just brainstorm some things that I want to do in my training, which I do to some extent, but really something to emphasize that I think would have helped me or will help me perform better in the future. And I apologize if it's a little small here, but I will try to elucidate these principles. The first one that I want to share is quality over quantity. And it's something where, because of my work and my raising 3 kids and doing all of their activities, I don't get as much training time in as I would like. And what instead of trying to squeeze things in and do things with the TV in the background, I really want to try to strive to let's say I have half an hour or maybe an hour, and some days I might have 2 hours, really make that time quality time. How do we do that? That means making sure that I'm in an environment that's conducive to learning, and that would involve making sure it's quiet, or making sure that I can have time alone. Maybe tell my wife that I need an hour to train or something to that effect. But it also means being focused. And as you'll see as we go through these, the main overarching thing is that you will develop habits of how you think and how you play chess from your training. So if you are quickly going through your tactics problems and you're not really going over them, if you get them wrong, for example, or if you're playing a bunch of blitz, you're going to train that way. And so, uh, how you train, the quality of that training is very important, especially for adult improvers who tend to be not have as much time. I think a lot of times with younger players, kids who maybe don't have a lot of responsibilities yet because they're kids, they can absorb a lot. And so that quantity will overarch because they just see so many positions. But I don't know if that necessarily would work, at least for me. So again, all of these points are made more towards maybe my play, but I think in talking to other friends of mine, that it might also be somewhat of a universal principles here. So quality over quantity. The second one, and we've talked about this a lot, and if you're into things like Chessable and learning, active learning where you're engaged is very important. So even what I would say, people will say that chess videos, for example, is passive learning because you're just watching it. But you can make it very active, and I try to do this in my videos where I'll ask you a question about what you think you should do, and really asking yourself whether you understand what you're watching. Maybe try to pause the video, just making sure that you are generating ideas and moves along with the video, and make it, of course, this is why tactics training, besides building up tactical patterns and calculating skills, is very important, because you're actually generating the answer, and that's helping you to learn better. So maybe this is not a weakness of my training currently, but it is something that I always want to remind myself to make sure I'm doing in all of my training. Okay, the next one is train the way you will play, and how you'll play. So this covers, there's, I used to do martial arts and some full contact sparring and actually some amateur kickboxing as well. And I used to do a lot of drills where we would do different combinations, with kicks and punches and blocks, and a lot of footwork, that type of stuff. But my greatest progress happened when I was had a partner or an opponent who was trying to hit me, I guess. And so part of this is, if I'm just goofing off with my training partners, whether it be martial arts or chess. And now, again, by the way, there's nothing wrong with doing things casually sometimes. But what I'm saying is that part of the training is developing the habit. So if you practice lazy calculation, where you're not looking for your opponent's best replies, you're going to do that in your games too. It's something that similarly, you need to, if you play over the board chess or you're training for over the board and you primarily do a lot of your training and play online, it's good to get the board out so you're used to touching the board, used to moving the pieces on the board, used to working with a clock. I've seen a few forum posts on Chessable about this, and I think it's important to do that. What I did before this tournament is I made sure I got in some over the board play in nearby Rochester, New York, before the tournament, because the adrenaline rush you get, and this goes into my next point, which I'll get into, but that the feeling and emotions and the adrenaline that you get from over the board play is not something that is easy to simulate without actually doing it. So, and this is why tournament play is very important, and this is why a lot of times, people who are younger, who have a lot of opportunities to play, maybe don't have as busy schedules and can really get to these tournaments. And again, everyone's life situation is different, so you have to do the best with what you've got. That's why they progress a lot, because they're playing very intense matches, and then if they're going over their games by themselves or with a coach or with an engine, then they're learning a lot. But because they're playing, you're actually the playing itself is training for the next time you play, as well as the enjoyment of the play itself. Okay, the next one, kind of following from that, is get in the kitchen. My again, harkening back to my martial arts days, my trainer would often say, after my first fight, I lost, and I was kind of bummed out, and he said, you just need to get in the kitchen more. You just need to go back and do it. If I know there's a couple adult improvers, I know they play very often in tournaments, and I know my training partner and friend Stacia Pugh, she plays rated tournament games, I think almost every week, and I think it really helps to be ready for these tournaments. Whereas if I'm playing over the board, well, I try to increase this before the tournament, but usually the big tournaments I only get out to a couple times a year, and I have some over the board like evenings where I'll play a tournament, like a rated game, but it's just a single game. But the more you can do that, and the more you can experience, again, those emotions and handling of the adrenaline and handling of your emotions, the better you're going to be. And so I think that's really an important thing to do. The next one actually was something that I experienced in this last tournament, and I'll probably talk about it in my videos, is emphasizing understanding over memorization. And this is a trap I think that some players get into with things like Chessable. And as you know, I'm a big fan of Chessable, so I'm not trying to say Chessable isn't effective or good for what it is. But it's very important that, and this is part of the active learning, that when you're doing those memorization techniques where you're reviewing your openings or woodpecker method for your tactics, that you question yourself, make sure you're fully understanding why the moves are being made. In this, for my opening repertoire, for example, I knew a lot of the lines, but I wasn't fully understanding the middle game plans and some of those lines. Now, again, it's a growth process, so it's going to take time to do all of this anyway. But if you have that mindset of trying to understand versus just memorize, you'll be on a better foot, or at least that's the way I'm looking at it. So what I'm doing is not doing as much Chessable, volume of Chessable, but maybe slowing down and, again, looking at, if I'm going over an opening line, make sure I understand every move and why that's played. And sometimes it might, memory and understanding kind of go hand in hand. And sometimes you need to go over the lines and then you'll see, oh, that's why, or you'll need to see it in a blitz game or see it in one of your games. So if you don't fully understand something, it doesn't mean don't move forward, but it does mean make sure you're coming back to it. And that is something that Chessable does very well if you follow the algorithms of repeating and reviewing. The final point I want to discuss with you today is curiosity. And I was inspired by this with work. I do financial planning, and there's a concept. There's a bunch of things that I need to learn still. But I was discussing with my business partner about a specific estate planning concept, and I wasn't familiar with it. And basically, he told me, you know what? If you've been wondering about something, now is the best time to find out about it. So this, how does this apply to our chess? Well, I think sometimes we'll look at some positions or we'll play a blitz game or something like that, and then we'll kind of just move on, or maybe we'll solve a tactics problem that we got it incorrect. Uh, Having a an attitude of curiosity, where you'll say, well, what happens if my opponent plays this? And then trying to discover the answer is part about what chess is about. Chess is about thinking, and when we're even when we're playing a game, you might think, well, I'm going to play this, and then my opponent's forced to play this, and then I'm going to follow up with this, and then my position will be okay. Well, as I found out during this tournament, I would have that kind of thought process, but my opponent would come up with a move that I didn't see. And what I should have done was thought to myself, well, I think my opponent should play this, but what if he doesn't? What's going to happen then? And part of this is learning how to calculate properly, but part of it also is just it's about the mindset of having curiosity, both during the game and after the game. So uh, hopefully you will have that as you are learning that sense of curiosity. Hey guys, I hope you found our discussion interesting today. It's kind of born out of a brainstorming session I had with myself as I was looking at my games. So it's not meant to necessarily be comprehensive, but just a few points I want to make sure I am including in my future play and training so that I can maximize what I learn and try to help me to grow. So I hope it helps you to do that as well. I, as you know, on this channel, I make videos about training in chess, and I have a playlist over here with some training discussions I've had in the past. So enjoy that, and make sure you are subscribed. You can hit the button down below, and if you enjoyed this video, if you'd share it and hit that like button, I'd really appreciate it. Hope you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.